Hello, my name is Mr. Simon Murphy. I'm the head of sixth form at Sept College, and normally we would be speaking at an evening in the library on some late September evening just to talk about sixth form life and expectations. Unfortunately, we're unable to do that, but I still wanted to be able to speak to you today just to let you know a little bit about what happens this particular year and to provide you with some further information. Firstly, just to let you know about the sixth form tutor team. By now, your son or daughter has been placed within a team. So we have 6W, who is led by Miss Lewis and Miss Tarbucks. Both have been experienced tutors over the past few years. Miss Fisher, again, very experienced form tutor at sixth form. And Miss Whitaker and Miss Morfitt, both experienced teachers and have had sixth form experience as well. Myself, head of sixth form, and attendance alongside the main school as well. Miss Pettifer is the attendance officer who can deal with your attendance issues. So headlines with Settle College in the summer. It's obviously a very unusual summer within the sixth form as well. But we were delighted with the amount of students who actually achieved their first choice university place, with 29% gaining a place at the Russell Group universities like York and Sheffield and Newcastle, and Lancaster being a top 10 university place as well on our doorstep. We had success with Oxbridge, with a candidate being successfully meeting the criteria to read history at Oxford, and many achieving fantastic apprenticeship positions that they decided upon during the course of the year, and even so during lockdown, where they could really focus on what they wanted to do. Some were deferring from 2021, which is quite understandable. I think with the current situation, some students felt they wanted just to see what the year would look like at university, and the position they can take is to defer in 2021. So as you can see there, from the majority of students went to either university, the Russell Group or non-Russell Group universities, with more students this year taking apprenticeships than ever before. We have some students returning to year 14 to try to improve, and some students going into employment or local colleges. As you can see, a variety of courses around the country. As I say, most students this year seem to have so either deferred or taken apprenticeships, which is good to see, really, because students obviously benefit from the advice and guidance we give them and make decisions based on what's right for them. But you can see a variety of courses around the country, ranging from psychology to mental health nursing, film studies and history. So Settle Sixth Form College is Settle Sixth Form College. It's still the same. It still has the same environments that we teach in, and the students congregate in and socialise in and work in. Within Settle Sixth Form, we have two designated areas. As you know, we would keep our Year 12s and 13s together in a bubble, and they are allowed to go to this particular area, which is a sixth form centre, and they are allowed to work in here and socialise in here. And also the library is the designated space as well, where they can work. So sixth formers have been thinking long and hard at what makes a good sixth form student. A lot of students have spent time on this in the early days of the induction period to try to really think about what makes a good sixth form student. And independence, hardworking, resilience does come about from all of the thinking. And we have talked a lot about the skills that students do need. They do need to be committed to the courses that they've chosen. Being enthusiastic really helps, because that drives the outcomes that they can achieve. They need to be organised, they need to be punctual, they need to be thinking about what they need to do in the future. And the main focus is really about this jump between GCSE and A-level, and supporting the students in the work that they have to do. So a lot of students have said in the past, well, what exactly was the advice I wish I was told at the start of the sixth form? So a lot of students sort of reflect back on the journey 2 years and what they wish they learned. I think the biggest challenge is to use the freeze, which they call them, we call them study periods, and take time to not just relax, but also to study. It's very important the time that they have is spent wisely, because it's not just about doing homework and thinking that's enough. You have to be thinking about what else you can be doing in terms of, reading ahead, looking at your notes, looking at simplifying your notes, looking at making mind maps, revision cards, as I said, reading around the subject as well. I think it's very important is not to overdo it in terms of not have time for yourself, and making sure that work is actually done when it needs to be done. But don't leave lessons and revisions in particularly, don't leave that to the last minute, because you can't just say I'm going to turn it on at the end of year 13 and everything will be okay. It doesn't work like that. It's a 2-year course, and there's a lot and lots of opportunity throughout to be assessed and to see your progress, and it's very important that you keep on track with everything. Organisation is a big thing, so keeping your folder. We give folders to all students. Each student has 3 folders, one for each subject. Dividers are given to them, and they're encouraged to organise it, to make sure it's neat, to make sure it's not stuffed with papers and they'll fall out at any opportunity. It's important to be organised, to know what you have to do, have a diary of what you need to do each day. Subject knowledge is really crucial, isn't it? But it doesn't come without passion. You really got to be passionate about the subjects that you've chosen, and hopefully they have. They've chosen these subjects. They weren't told to do them. They were really things that they wanted to do. Students have lots of other opportunities these days, so it's something that you really have to be passionate about. Some students think, judging by what others are doing, I'm working quite hard. And sometimes students are working hard, but often you could be doing a bit more. And you've got to think as a community is that we are just a sixth form full of students, but we've only got 80 students, and across the country there's competition for places at university, and this competition dedicated to their subjects and their courses, and the same with apprenticeships as well. There's very much a nationwide competition out there, so you really have to really work as hard as you possibly can on gaining the grades that you need to be able to achieve a place in the university market or the apprenticeship job market. I think students have done this, and the decisions they've made are based on what they thought they were A, good at, and B, what they'd like to do in the future and what they enjoy. So that's very important. Teachers' advice is crucial, because at the end of the day, students have to realise that staff have been following these courses for a number of years, and they know what students are capable of, and they know what students need to do. So the advice is always to listen to the teachers and don't ignore what they're trying to say. So a few weeks in now, as I speak, this is entering the 3rd week, and things start to settle down, and it becomes sort of a realization that this is the work in practice, and there's things I need to work on, there's things I need to sort of deal with, and that sort of gets to the point perhaps where at the end of year 12 there'll be time to revise, because there'll be end of year units to do, and then it can be either this panic and stress about what's going to be happening in these exams, and have I done enough. But ultimately, if your student is organised and calm and able to sit back and think, well, I have done enough, I have revised, I have got a set of notes, I have handed work in on time, the outcomes will be pretty much what they expected them to be. That comes from all the skills I've talked about previously. So what we're looking for in the sixth form students are probably all of these particular words really and phrases. We're looking for students to not just be academically brilliant, but also offer things whilst they're here, the opportunity to help others, the opportunity to get involved and take responsibility for their learning, to show initiative, to be perhaps a leader within the sixth form committee, but ultimately be a role model for the students who are lower down the school. And a lot of sixth form students do say when they listen to the sixth form team in assemblies, or the see sixth formers, that that's something they want to aspire to. So they should never underestimate that they are a big role model for the lower students. So a little bit about the routines at the moment, what's happening during the courses of the week. Students have this achievement log, which is a record of all their assessments and work that they've had marked by the teachers. It's a review of performance as well, and we do mentor students throughout the 2 years and try to talk to them about the issues they're having, try and support them in different ways. There is a big jump from A-level, from GCSE to A-level, and I think it more so now the fact that Year 11 never went through the exams and the revisions of Year 11, so they've missed out on that particular period of time where they could sort of plan their revision and get things sorted, get things organised, do exams, and come out the other side. And it's been a difficult time for them, and the jump now to A-level can be quite a daunting one. And it's not just about understanding the subject, but it's about working practice. We talk a lot about this Vesper program which we were following in tutor time, and it's about vision, having a vision for where you want to get to, the effort that you need to put into place to get there, the systems that you need to put into place to enable you to do the work and to be organised, practice of skills, techniques, practices of exam questions, etc., and also the attitude that you need in order to be a successful student at A-level. Now, the working week is slightly different to what it's been in the past. We've had to separate groups into bubbles, so 7 and 9 are a bubble, and 10 and 11 are a bubble, and Year 12 and 13 have their own bubble as well. So we still have tutor time, but it's sort of in the middle of the day now. So lessons, when they arrive in school, start at 8:35, straight into period 1. If they have a free lesson, then they have to go to the library and get registered there. At break time, it's a mixture of where canteen can take students to accommodate them. So that starts with years 7 to 9. So what Year 12 and 13 do is just remain in their communal spaces like the library and the sixth form centre. Period 3, and then tutor time, as I said, in the middle of the day. Lunch is a shared lunch with 10s and 11s, and 12s and 13s tend to get their lunch later than the 10s and 11s, and then they go back to their communal areas. We are still looking at how we can improve the facilities, and in the early days we recognise the things that we can improve on, so we're looking at that. Period 4 and 5 is normal, and then early buses for our sixth formers, so we can get them on the buses first. So tutor time tends to be every day, as I mentioned. We sort of look at information given on the Monday, Tracker Tuesday, where we look at folders, organisation, etc. We talk about great conversation, I like to say it's called, where we talk about current affairs, things that have happened in the past, just get us talking about things. TED Talks are a good a good resource where we listen to speakers, expert speakers talking about different things. We look at the news and quizzes as well. We also then have assembly on a Thursday, and then PSHE is a formal lesson on a Friday at tutor time, where we talk about a range of topics, from mental health, well-being, to looking at living in the wider world, and university, and general issues that we think will support the overall well-being of students. The sixth form timetable can look something like this. So our student A is geography, so you can see it there in their timetable. They also have maths, and then business as a third subject. Some students do 4 subjects, so that would be filled in that way. We have PSE, one slot a fortnight, and that's in tutor time as well. But this particular opportunity here in PSE is just an opportunity to do what we call the extended project qualification, which is half an A level, and again it's devoted to enabling them to be prepared for university, but also employment, and it gives them an opportunity to, as I said, learn the skills that are needed for a university place or an employment place. We then have enrichment on Wednesday afternoon where students can do sport, etc. I'll come to that later on. And library study time can be filled in the other places as well. Tutor time assemblies, as I said, is in the middle of the day. So the type of enrichment programs still are available for students. We're asking for students to do 1 hour a week, get a member of staff to be a reference for them. So it can be things like primary school links, perhaps volunteering in the local schools, mentoring, again, local area, set a library, looking for volunteers perhaps, something that they could do, better reading, supporting students, listening to students via Zoom or Teams to provide them support. So that can be something that they can do. All of these particular things are things that we've sort of had in the past, which can be taken up again. The MOOC is a massive online community of resources and courses that they can do, and they can learn about different things, and they actually get a certificate at the end of it. It's something they can do in their own time. Some of you may be aware of the 16 to 19 bursary. It exists to help students complete their courses who might be struggling to do so on financial grounds. So we have this bursary which replaced the education maintenance allowance a few years ago, and it's on our website, the details. I've mentioned this to students as well. It's under bursary and travel and under sixth form, and all the paperwork is there. We're looking for that to be completed by the end of the month, so we can start processing these forms in around about early October. We start to set students' target grades as well based on how they performed at GCSE. So we tend to look at roughly what GCSE score band they were within, so what average GCSE point scores did they get, and that sort of gives you an idea about the A-level target grades aspiration. But we also use a company called ALPS who set our targets for us as well, and the students will be getting them quite soon. So the target is something that you'd see on the progress reviews that come out 3 times a year. So this student doing PE, history, maths and biology, these may be the predicted grades based on the ALPS target. So coming into the first progress review, which will be in November 2020, you can see here the student has got an attitude to learning grade. Now 1 is outstanding, 2 is good, 3 requires improvement, some improvement, 4 requires much improvement. So what we're sort of seeing here is the student isn't doing particularly well in PE. There's much improvements needed. It's good in history, good in maths, and outstanding in biology. So that would be the concern there. There's a massive difference between how they're performing in one subject and not the other. In February, things start to change. So we've sort of moved away from that disappointing start in PE, and things are a bit back to normal in terms of improvement, and maths has improved as well. So there's some good ideas there of how the students are doing. Slight work can still be done in PE, but then in June we can see everything is sort of where it should be, and then the level of effort has been now outstanding. Now, class charts is something that students have been using in lower schools, and you still can access this information if you want to. Class charts is the same login that you've used in the previous times. Again, if you're struggling with this, just drop me an email at the end and I'll be able to give you that information. Just a little bit about our dress code. We have a sixth form dress code, which is in the handbook that was sent home to parents as well as students. And there's the big things there really about no trainers, no jeans, hoodies, etc. These are the types of things that we try to look away from. Just imagining that smart business casual dress is what we're looking for. Attendance as well is very, very important. We offer full-time study. We don't offer part-time study, so it's compulsory for all aspects of study, and students are expected to develop levels of professionalism and reliability that will serve them well in the world of work and further study. And what we expect is students to be here from 8:35 to 3:20 every day. So if they have no lessons, we still expect them to be doing some further study. We expect them to be getting on with their extended project qualification, which can be done independently as well, and to manage the time around these particular days where they have a lighter timetable than others. If for some reason students are unable to come in, that's no problem, but you just need to let college know. If you could phone college on that number there, perhaps leave a message if you need to. There's more information about this in the booklet as well. So it is students' responsibility to let us know about planned absence, to inform tutors, and if there's a particular day that needs to be taken off, there's a green absence request form need to go to Mr. Whittaker. So just important dates for you really, just to look at. As you're probably aware, we've not been unable to do the information evening in the library, but the things coming up soon will be a skills review week where we look at the performance of students, how they're settling in the 19th of October. UCAS deadlines, the time next year really is to remember we have an internal deadline around about the end of half term. There is a sixth form open evening which students may be involved in, and again learning conversations happen between November in the week where we talk about how the folder's looking, the organisation, etc. And that's a key time to sort of let you know if things aren't doing so well in particular. I'm still at this moment in time thinking about parents' evening in December. 10th of December. There may be some CTEC course exams after Christmas if they're doing CTEC in business or CTEC in IT or BTEC in engineering. There may be some courses there that require exams. They're external formal exams. We do mock exams, not for all subjects. We do them in February and that lasts till March. And then there's another parents' evening on the 18th of March. That should be 2021, sorry, 2021. So I'll leave you with that really, just to say, you know, at sixth form we're very much looking at students individually. We want them to really go on to whatever they want to become. So that is the thought really about what students want to do and whether they want to go to become an engineer apprenticeship in a company locally or nationally, or whether they want to go to university or take a gap year. We're here for them to sort of guide them through that journey, and that we hope that they'll be able to succeed in everything that you want to achieve in life. So thank you for listening, and what I'll say is that if there's any reason for you to call and contact me on any issue, please do so. My email is s.murphy@settlecollege.n-yorks.sch.uk, and you can get in touch with me anytime and I'll get back to you on the matter. So thank you for listening.